What's going on, everyone? So, Gabe Vincent and his turnaround has been very impressive. He went from essentially being unplayable and literally the worst player in the league for a large stretch of the season to like one of our more valuable pieces recently. His defensive intensity has really picked up, his rebounding, his shot making. Right? He's shooting the three ball very well. He's up to 33% on the season, right? You got to keep in mind, he was like 18%, 19% for like the first 20 games. And that's primarily because he's shooting over 43% in the last like 10 games or so. Like he has been very good shooting the basketball, knocking down some shots. He's been, again, very active, very physical. His point total, everything has just kind of gone up for the Lakers. And the Lakers, like, he's finally looking like the player the Lakers expected him to be, right? Like, he's finally starting to look when we acquired him from Miami. Now, he came in, like, he had that preseason game where he had like 18, and it was like, this is the guy. Like, this is what we've been talking about. And then he just struggled and then got hurt, or he got hurt and then came back and then struggled and then got hurt again. And then just like, it was a mess. And then the hope was, okay, this season he's going to come in, he's going to get back, right? He's going to be the Gabe Vincent we need him to be. And then he was just god awful. And all of us were like, get this guy off our team. Trade this guy for whatever you have to trade him for whatever it takes to trade him for. You need to get him off this team. And now, like, the tune has changed. I mean, a lot of people are really liking what they've seen from Gabe Vincent, myself included. And it begs the question, like, does this kind of change the way that the Lakers look at Gabe Vincent? Now, look, I still believe you trade Gabe Vincent. I do think it, obviously it depends. But there are a few arguments against it. And at the end of the day, look, it doesn't matter what we think or what we want. Right? Like, I think this is good because it's raising Gabe Vincent's trade value, and I do think some teams would be like, hey, you know what? Like, Gabe Vincent, defense, three-point shooting, right? He's looking like Miami Gabe Vincent again. Like, that could be really valuable for us. He's on a good contract, and next season he'd be an expiring contract, so it's like, hey, I could see a team maybe kind of looking to add him, looking to maybe bring him on via trade. But here's probably the biggest knock, right? Is that if you trade Gabe Vincent, chances are you're trading him, and I'll just use like the Wizards, for example, right? Now, even if you were to get and land, say, a Malcolm Brogdon, right? Say, best case scenario, you do like a Malcolm Brogdon, Kyle Kuzma, and a Jonas Valanciunas. Or, I see a lot of people that are like, oh, what about Jordan Poole? Okay, let's say Jordan Poole, whatever, right? Well, you're still probably going to need a backup point guard because Austin Reeves, he can't handle point guard duties, right? And I don't even like him handling point guard duties in the backup role, right? Like he doesn't handle ball pressure well. And I mean, that Detroit game was very apparent. That Detroit game was, I don't know how you justify it. I don't know how you argue that, right? He went up against a big physical athletic team and just got bullied, right? But the thing is, like, if you trade Gabe Vincent, it's like, okay, well, you need to get that production off the bench and ideally a 3-and-D. And there's not a lot of options out there for, like, a backup, right? Now, you could look to free agency pool, but even then, it's like, okay, well, you got, like, Markelle Fultz, you got Elfrid Payton, who, if he could do what he did for the Pelicans for us, that would be huge. You got Quincy Olivari, right? You could look to maybe bring him in. But, is he ready or not? I wish we'd get some more opportunity, get some more play from Quincy Olivari. Like, that would be really nice to kind of see. Do you bring in, like, a Devontae Graham, who they signed to the G League? But he's not really the defense piece. He's kind of just more of, like, this vacuum scorer. So the biggest kind of question that gets raised is, again, the three-point shooting and having that backup. You need a legit two-way backup guard, ideally. So, like, let's say you have a Malcolm Brogdon. Yeah, he ideal point guard for what we need. legit 3-and-D sizable guard that can defend essentially 1 through 3, some nights even 4. But what happens when he goes to the bench, right? Like, okay, it would be nice that's the whole thing. Like, okay, Gabe Vincent can come in. Gabe Vincent can slot in and be that. Well, if you get rid of Gabe Vincent, well, then you don't have that. So you need to kind of find that. And Markelle Fultz, even Elfrid Payton, like these guys don't shoot the 3 ball well, right? They're not great 3-point shooters. Again, Gabe Vincent can be kind of hot and cold too. So does it kind of balance itself out, especially if you were to get a Brogdon or anything like that? I do think that there is that. But again, like whatever the Lakers end up doing, they're probably going to be in the market for a guard if were to trade Gabe Vincent. Where if you kind of just keep it with Rui, D'Lo, maybe like a Jared Vanderbilt, especially if you're getting wings and maybe multiple, right? I do think ultimately, push comes to shove, they're probably going to have to trade Gabe Vincent, but I can see the Lakers kind of look. I think what this, if I'm Rob, right, I now have an argument, right? I now have, a counterpoint, to counter sell, right? Counter proposal, right? So like where a couple weeks ago, it was like, okay, like, hey, what do you think about Gabe Vincent, right? Like, can we interest you in a Gabe Vincent, right? Well, now it's like, hey, like Gabe Vincent's finally looking like the guy we need him to be. Gabe Vincent's finally coming into his own and finally starting to be that guy. So we're not in a rush to trade Gabe Vincent. What I'm saying is that now you have a counterpoint for actual value. Now you have a counterpoint to, maybe even incentivize teams, or like, hey, I'm sure you could find a contender, or maybe you're working out a 3-team deal where, say somebody's like, oh, we'll take Gabe Vincent because he makes some sense for us in a backup role. There's teams that could use like a backup guard and stuff, and Gabe Vincent could very well be that. But if he can the question is, can he just maintain this, right? Can he keep this up? Because if he can, and I'm not saying he has to shoot 43% from 3-point range, but like if he can be, say 38%, 37% from 3, and just get after it defensively and be the hustle guy he's been, and basically play the way he's been playing. But like, let's say it kind of averages out from 3-point range. His best 3-point season was 37% on 4.8 attempts. So if he could be that, he's up to almost 3 attempts per game, right? So if he could be 4.5 attempts a game, like what he was today, where he was like 3 of 5, if he could be anywhere from 2 to 3 of 5, perfect. Take 5 attempts a game, knock him down at an efficient clip, and then, like I said, give you the defense, give you the rebound. His averages for rebounds went up. He was averaging less than a rebound. Now he's up to a rebound and a half because, like I said, he's been rebounding better, assist totals, everything's just moving up, right? And so if he can kind of continue to progress to that and be that, 9 to, nobody's looking for him to be a 25 to 30 point a game guy, right? Like, it's within reason. The logic in Gabe Vincent was, okay, yes, Schroeder has more upside, right, on any given night, but it's the inconsistencies from Schroeder at times. I mean, you're kind of seeing it with the Warriors right now, right? Like, and it's with Gabe Vincent, it was more of like a constant, right? It's like, okay, you know what you're going to get from Gabe Vincent on a nightly basis. Where Schroeder, it was like, okay, tonight he could give you 25 or he could give you 5, right? Where now you're kind of trying to work around and go, okay, well, what if he is the 25 game guy? So then how do we approach, like where Gabe Vincent's like, okay, he's going to give you 8 to 12 points a game, right? He's going to play some defense, he can lock down, and it's cheap, $11 million a year, good value, boom, right? Like that was kind of the idea and logic, and it made sense. But now it's just, again, Gabe Vincent's been really good. I think it raises your trade value, or his trade value. I think it also gives you that kind of argument now in these negotiations, in these conversations. But it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see kind of how they can shape up. unless a trade happens, today, tomorrow, anytime soon, I think it's going to really be predicated on like how does Gabe Vincent look and how does he perform going forward and continuing going forward. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion and I pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of trading Gabe Vincent still? Do you think you should keep him, trade other guys? Gabe Vincent in that backup role really makes sense, and he's really starting to come into his own. Do you kind of like either way? It doesn't matter either way to you. No, if the right trades. I mean, look, to me, I don't think you just give Gabe Vincent away if he can continue to be this Gabe Vincent, right? Where a couple weeks ago it was like, hey, can I have half that sandwich? Right? It was kind of one of those things. So I do think things have changed a little bit here, and it's good. It's good for the Lakers. But anyway, again, I feel whatever your thoughts are. I love to hear it either way, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, so we enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.